Longmore. I am so excited to be here with you. I just kind of had my mouth open there because it made another ding here. And the topic today is if you feel powerless, what do you do about it? If you feel challenged, what do you do about it? And of course, law of attraction, language, I created a challenge. So I am 15 minutes past when I said I was going to broadcast. So the trick here is if you are doing a Google Hangouts is to use Safari. Mind, can you remember that? Use Safari, not Chrome. Chrome just keeps doing the loading, 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 kind of like your thought process. So when one thing doesn't work, try something else and do a different load in. And then guess what? It just is going to work. Life should work. Life should be just fun, easy, going with ease, have a flow. Now, maybe you missed me for the last 5 Saturdays, but where I have been has been so much fun. I have had 5 weekends of vacation and fun, fun, fun. First weekend was in Arizona, where I received a certification in energy mastery for advanced coaching. So now I have more to give and more to receive. So I am in such a receiving mode to learn more and more about energy. And I practice, practice, practice all the time, because what else is there to do but practice or just manifest creatively in the default lane. And that's not fun. So practice, practice, practice. Now, the next weekend, what I did, just to kind of catch you up here, is what I did is I went to Mexico and I was at a seminar with Abraham. Yeah, Abraham. And Abraham is a group of non-physical people. So here I am in Mexico with the most fantastic looking resort with my husband, Tom, attending this seminar and learning more about the law of attraction. And so it was fantastic. You know, what was great about it was the inspiration. Every morning we had a seminar, and then in the afternoons we played around and went sightseeing and went on tours. And everything is prepaid because it is all inclusive. And if you have a husband like mine, that's a very good idea because he really got into it. He didn't have to think about what to order, if we could afford it, what to tip, and all those little details. It was totally flow, easy, abundance, fun. And our room and the resort was absolutely gorgeous. So it's kind of interesting how when things go with flow, how really, really nice they are. Plus, it was very, very good food. So you're going to see a little less of me because I have 25 pounds to lose. Not all that I gained on the resort, but some that I did gain before, and then the resort was the cherry on the top. So anyway, I'm on a nutritional plan to change my weight. So another thing I wanted to share with you is then the next weekend I went to this. It was a birthday party for my 4-year-old granddaughter, Kaya. And you see it's an Ariel birthday party, the girl with here with the red hair. And Chelsea, my daughter, had hired a girl that this is her business, and she goes around with other people and they play princesses. And of course, it was a princess party because Kaya is 4 years old and loves princesses. And Ariel was such a hit. When she came in, full pink dress down to the floor, flowing pink dress, and red hair, long red hair to the middle of her back. And she was Ariel. She did things like, "Oh, I'm so happy to be here with all of you. Oh, this is going to be so much fun." And she entertained those little 4-year-olds for 1.5 hours. And we were all like this. All the adults were like that. And the kids were like, "Oh." Really, just completely mesmerizing. It was so much fun, so much ease, so much flow. And of course, Kaya is now the hit of her preschool because she had a real Ariel come to her birthday party. So now to our broadcast. I have a very special guest for you, Mary Lynn Monroe, who's going to be doing a story that's going to inspire you and teach you things because she is a great storyteller and also talks about myths, so you will understand more about myths. Unfolding Myths is the name of her website. So now I'm going to talk to you about what I have up my sleeve. So the whole broadcast today is about if you feel powerless or less than, this is going to speak to you. You know, sometimes things don't go so good, right? Oh, there's one more thing before I get to that. Also, I'm wearing this, and this is a kind of a necklace that my grandson Joshua made for me. And Joshua's in the non-physical right now. He's 14. He was 14 when he left his body. And I was just inspired to wear this today for you. So, and for me, and for Joshua. So, things sometimes don't go so great. So just imagine, kind of shut your eyes and get into the flow here and think about this. Say it's very, very late. Yeah, think about this. And you are driving home from work and your mind is just whirling with thought forms. Did I do that? Or did I do this? Will he be complaining about what I've done or not done? Will the boss be complaining about what I have done or not done? And, you know, I so want to do things right. And your mind is going in a million places, all negative. And then I remember when I was 6 and I accidentally knocked over a vase. And everyone in the room looked at me and someone said, why? Why can't she do anything right? Suddenly, as I'm driving, there is so much rain and I am so lost in thought that I almost run a red light. Now, this is the thought forms of not good enough that are stopping short as adrenaline shoots into my body and brings me back into the current thought that, you know what, you almost ran a red light because you were so down the rabbit hole of negative thinking. And this shock wave will just shook me up and started me thinking, you know what, I'm a law of attraction energy master. I create my own reality. Get out of this rabbit hole of negative thought. And so then I start a new stream of thought. How can I prevent myself from doing stupid things? Stupid stuff. Well, later in the broadcast, I'm going to show you how to just do just that. But first I wanted to review what I talked about 5 weeks ago, because it's going to give you a foundation, kind of a nice foundation of how to shift your energy so that if you get where you want, so you can get where you want with ease, safety, and confidence. Now, a few weeks ago, the topic was self-help energies for personal development. And this broadcast is how to be happy and ageless. So that was last week. Yeah, the happy and ageless. And you know what it is. How do you do things successfully? Well, you find things in life that match the high vibrating words. What are those high vibrating words? They're things like freedom and joy and knowledge and passion, appreciation, eagerness, positive expectation, belief, optimism, hopefulness, and abundance. And if those words still haven't gotten your attention, try this one. Money. Money, money, money. Money and abundance in ways that you never seemed possible will come when you use those words in your daily life. The universe is very, very clever how they will appear and how money will appear in your life. So just have fun and enjoy all of it. You were really born to have fun. It's no wonder that one of my power words, actually the only powerful word I picked for the whole year, is fun. So you're going to hear a lot about that word. Try it out. It's really fun. And yes, I am having an absolute blast with the word. Like I said, the universe is very, very clever at how it's going to bring it to you and put it into your life. Now remember, there are 3-step process for manifestation. You remember that? 3 steps. Step 1 is you ask. Step 2 is source answers. And step 3 is you allow. But now, recently, there is a step 4. And this was just on some of Abraham's webinars, or he doesn't do webinars, Abraham's workshops. Yeah, workshops. And so step 4 is to keep the high vibration going so that you are aligned with what you want. And this means just keep those good words flowing. Who would ever thought that it takes so much practice to keep those good words and feeling happy and fun going? But it does. And it's well worth the practice. You know, you didn't start feeding yourself right away. You had to go through a process. When you learned to walk, you didn't just like get up and run. You had to go through a process. And when you did other things like go to college or anything you learned, you had to go through a process. And that's what it takes. Funny as it may be, to be happy and keep those words flowing is a process and takes lots of practice. But you got the whole rest of your life, so why not practice? The other part of that is if you don't practice, then you are actually creating, because you do create your own reality, you're creating in the default lane. You're creating just as things come to you, smack you or whatever. So practice the good feeling thoughts. So in summary, the soundbite here of that learning is that it's really, really simple. Just look for and reach for thoughts that keep your vibe up. Happy thoughts, because this is how you will magnetize confidence, ease, and happiness to you. And oh yes, that word, money, abundance. Now today's topic is one I had a lot of fun with. It's, does the powerful lion get to eat the turtle? Now all the content I share with you on this broadcast comes to me in very, very surprising ways. I like it that way. I really like it that way, because I'm on a kind of hero's journey, and where I look for clues as to what would be most useful for me to know and for you to hear. You know, I have this visual planner which I love, and I created it a year ago, and a visual business plan. In another broadcast, I talked about the power of the image. And that was number 40 and number 39. And you will find those broadcasts on my internet site, sandralongmore.com, or go on iTunes and put my name in there, sandralongmore.com. And I broadcast on iTunes as well as here on Google+. And it is, as I said, number 40 and number 39. How organized am I getting? Woohoo, I just love it. So, when I find that my head and thought forms are full of great new images, and they are, because this visual is all, I have stickers and things I draw, and the power of the image really helps me keep my vibe up and to make progress and success. Speaking of stickers, I have never seen a bad sticker. Have you? When you go to the grocery store or you look at your kids' stickers, have you ever seen one that says you're a dummy? Maybe some bumper stickers, but don't buy those bumper stickers. Go to the children's section or the scrapbooking section and get good feeling stickers. So how does it help? This seems like a simple little thing, a sticker. Well, it shifts your energy, and that's what, if you can get to the point where you can shift your energy consciously, you can manifest more of what you want and less of what you don't want. Remember, you are made up of energy. You are an energetic being, and it's your choice completely how you use your energy. And when you shift by whatever means, and the easiest way to shift is by getting up into those high-flying words that I just repeated, or you can just go to appreciation. Appreciation is like a magical word. And if you just go around and appreciating everything in your path, you will shift. You will shift. Now, the problem itself might not be resolved, but the method you use will help you shift into a better feeling thought, better feeling place, so law of attraction can match the vibe and bring you more of the good stuff and less of the bad stuff. Now, in this case, I'm talking about the images more or less and the use of stickers. But as you probably have already guessed, my broadcasts are multi-layered. Yeah. There's the kind of stuff, and then there's the deep stuff, and it's all good. So the sticker is a great image to let you float through your thought forms, and the use of these images is a very high vibration. You know, all we really need to know in life is learned in your younger years. Amazing, isn't it, that a cheap sticker, only a few cents or a few dollars if you buy a whole pack of 300 of them, is so useful. I find myself seeing my stickers float through my mind sometimes when I'm thinking things, and I think, yeah, they're working. So becoming aware of what's floating through your mind and becoming aware of what's working and what's not working is part of being an energy master. So now on to the question of the day. Does the lion eat the turtle or not? Now, patience, patience, patience. Let me talk a little bit about how I attracted this story into my life. Well, this is how the lion and the turtle analogy came to me. Last night, or a few nights ago, when I opened up my sticker file and asked myself what sticker will have something for me tomorrow, and out of the hundreds of stickers I have, I told you, I love stickers now. I picked one with the lion playing with a turtle. And you know, this is how the law of attraction works. It brings you what's going to take you into your next most clarifying step to get to what you want. Yeah. So, and it focuses your current point of perspective. So your current point of perspective is very, very important because that's what you're magnetizing towards you. So on to the story. So the morning that I wrote this content for you, I find myself thinking. I told you the sticker kind of floats through my mind. Well, I found myself thinking about that sticker, and I wondered, do lions eat turtles? I really don't know. Do they really eat turtles? So I went to my toolbox of Google, and I Googled it. And I found out, according to YouTube, yes, there has been incidences where a lion does eat a turtle. But I think this interpretation of the story, and you can make up your own story by things, will have a more interesting and empowerment for your life story. And it fits in with a similar story you might have running in your head about not being powerful or overwhelmed or thinking you are unworthy or just not good enough. You might think you have people in your life who are more powerful than you, ruining it, ruining your survival, and ruining your very life. Now, who could it be? It could be a boss, a husband, a relative, or even a child. But you can overcome this, just like the turtle did. Now, this version of the story can be found on the internet. Just Google it, and it's at ils.unc.edu/. And you will see how the turtle works out his dilemma. But as you listen to the story, think about how you can outthink your problems and become a winner. Remember, you always, always have choices. So now, you're on the edge of your seats, I'm sure. Now onto the story. And I can feel you are really there listening. So this is a synopsis of the story. So the lion had a very unsuccessful day hunting and is resting at dawn. And he pounces on a creature wrestling in the bushes. And he finds he has caught a turtle. And the lion tries to eat the turtle, who hides in his shell and is very, very safe. So the lion gets pretty angry. In fact, he gets really, really angry about the turtle hiding in his shell. And after all, the lion is bigger and more powerful. And on top of that, he's very, very hungry. So he thinks, and he proposes a race to determine which is the stronger, the lion himself or the turtle. So the turtle thinks about this very, very carefully, and he stalls for some time. And then he hatches a plan in his mind, and he says, I'm going to get in touch with my cousin to outwit the lion. So the race was going to be on, and it was going to take place the next day. And the turtle got together with the cousin. So the turtle, here's the day at daybreak, and the turtle meets the lion at the river. And the turtle has a red flower in his mouth to distinguish him from other turtles. And then they start the race, and the lion speeds past the turtle. After all, the lion is the most powerful. But the clever turtle hides on the river bottom. And the lion, tasting victory, reaches the other side of the river and licking his chops as he's going to have turtle in the next bite. And on the other side of the river, he finds the turtle's cousin on the bank with a red flower in his mouth. Thinking that the turtle has beat him fairly, he is a fair lion, he leaves. And the turtle and his cousin meet to congratulate each other on their successful trick. Way to go, way to go. We did it together. Now, what you learned with this story is that when you feel overwhelmed or like you're going to be eaten alive by someone who is much more powerful than you, number one, stall for time. Number two, take several deep breaths and shift your energy into a positive frame of mind. Now, if the breath doesn't work, excuse yourself, saying, I have another call, or someone's at the door, or some other thing some other creative act, your creative creatures, some other creative act, so that you have time to shift your energy into a better place. Why? Why do you do that? Why don't you just go with it? Because if you're truly feeling danger you're in a victim's shoes. And what happens next will match the victim's mentality. It's law of attraction, by the way. It's law. And do you remember that drama triangle I talked about in another broadcast? Well, the triangle is where three habitual psychological roles or role play people take in different situations. And some people stay in a drama triangle their whole lives. So one will play the role of the victim, and then comes in the persecutor and the rescuer. So the person who is the victim, you know what that is. The person who pressures or coerces the persecutor and persecutes the victim needs to have a rescuer. And the rescuer who intervenes seemingly out of a desire to help the situation, or the underdog in the triangle. And there you go. And then it's just a loop around that triangle. Now the roles might switch, but the idea is the same. And I bet you could see somebody in your life play this triangle out. So if you want to step out of that triangle, because the problem with the triangle, not only it's not any fun, but the problem with that triangle is you're going to feel powerless and unworthy and not so good, and you are going to attract the same, the powerless and the unworthy and not so good. So maybe you or someone you know really well has been attracting over and over again the same people in their lives, the same jobs, the same husbands, whatever. So to shift out of the victim shoes or any of those roles is to shift your energy. You have to get out of the fight, flight, or freeze mode, because this is just more of a victim's triangle. Now, how do you do it successfully then, Sandra, you might be saying? Well, here are some tools. I got some handy-dandy tools right here for you. Number one, you can use aphorisms. With the word in process, use the word in process. I am in process of losing weight. I am in process of feeling better every single day. I am in process of learning this new technology. So instead of the words I am, because when you use the words I am instead of in process, your subconscious mind is going to give you a big fight. Because a big fight is you ate that apple pie the other day. You're not that. You can't learn anymore. You're just a dummy. So the subconscious will fight you. So if you use the word in process, it just kind of gets under the subconscious and makes the subconscious go, okay, yeah, you're in progress. That's all right, yeah. So, and the second tool here I'm giving you, first one was aphorisms, the second one is to use your breath. It's always with you, hopefully. So this way, so you breathe in an open mouth slightly and breathe in cold air while thinking, I am breathing in cold air, and breathe out through your nose using warm air. This will help you bring you into your body, because that's what's wrong, is you're out of your body. So you breathe in the cool air with a slightly open mouth like this. And out with the warm air. And this will quiet your mind and let you think better. So tool number 3 is to just shift your thoughts to appreciation. Remember, I just told you appreciation is like a magical word. So look around the room and start to appreciate anything you see. Maybe the colors, the fabrics, or whatever. By the way, I'm in my classroom. I am also a teacher of art, and I can look around here and see lots of good colors, lots of good things being created, and shift my energy. So it kind of sounds like this. I really appreciate the color orange. Maybe you saw an orange sign or an orange jacket or something. I appreciate the color orange. And that thought of appreciation is pretty neutral, as long as you like orange. And it can get you started to shift the energy. So, or something like this. I love the scene from this window. I love what I'm looking at. I appreciate, magical word, how I live in such a beautiful planet. Now that's just kind of a general overall thought, so your other thoughts can't grab onto that with some negativity. So think how beautiful our planet is and how wonderful it is with every day to come, without an exception. Every day when I open my eyes, the planet is still spinning out there and I have a new day. Think of anything that will shift your point of perspective. Remember, it's the quality of the vibration or the emotion, not the thing itself, that will bring you more of what you do want, less of what you don't want. Yeah. So the purpose here is to shift your energy so that when you get in front of something that you feel is powerful or like a big lion, you will feel like the powerful one, the clever one, who knows how to win not only this race, but any race at any time. Now, in this broadcast, you have learned that you're powerful. You are the powerful and clever person. And you know how to shift your energy at any time, any place. And it's so much fun. No matter who you're with or what you're doing, you can have a shift in energy. First thing is just kind of be aware of it and watch how it shifts, and then you'll learn how to do it better. You could also contact me, sandralongmore.com. I'm a life coach, and I can help you and guide you into more practices that will deepen your understanding of how to shift energy. So that sounds really good, doesn't it? But are you going to still meet the lion in your life? Oh, yeah, you are. That's the diversity of life. But you will know that you're going to win. You're going to find a way to win every time because you do have the true power within you. You can overcome all obstacles. So thank you. Thank you for being my inspiration to create this content for you. And I just love it. I love creating this content. As you can see, it just brings fun into my life. So not next week. Next week I do take a week off from Google+, but the first Saturday in May, I will be here at 1 o'clock with something really, really super fun, inspirational, and useful for your life to shift energy, up-level your life. So you can reach me at sandralongmore.com, Facebook me, Sandra Longmore. Everything's under my name. I keep it simple that way, Sandra Longmore, and I'm on all the social media links, and I would love, love, love to hear from you. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce my good friend and master storyteller. She is just so great at this, Mary Lynn Monroe. And we're going to trade places here. And here is Mary Lynn.
Yes. All right. Oh, good. There I am. We're going to have to shift it. I'm just a little bit taller than Sandra. So we have to move the camera so it sees me instead of, you know, my nose on down. So one of the amazing things that I find about coming to these and doing these with Sandra is that this time, because there had been such a long time between when I was here last and now, we hadn't really talked about what she was going to talk about, and the only thing I told her about my story was that it was going to be about the the pagan origins of Easter. Actually, Eostra, the goddess after whom Easter is named. And I find it really fascinating because she's talking about challenges, and this story goes right along with that. And we hadn't talked about this before, so I find it very fascinating how the universe just kind of pulls it all in and pulls it all together anyway. So I have my story is about the goddess Eostra. She's also called Ostara, and she's also just referred to in many places as Easter. And she's a spring goddess. So the story is how she found her place. Many, many moons ago, more moons ago than anybody has ever counted, the gods and the goddesses were quarreling. That's not very unusual for them. But they were quarreling over who would be honored at the turning of the seasons. That was a big deal because the humans celebrated the seasons, and each god and goddess wanted to be celebrated, wanted everybody to see them as the most important. And clearly there were fewer seasonal turnings than there were deities. So as another turning approached, tempers flared. The arguments were brightening the sun, melting the snow, and warming the earth. Grass grew taller and greener in the heat of the arguments. Flowers poked their colorful heads out from behind the leaves, and rivers burbled faster. Yet the arguing gods and goddesses barely noticed, so entirely wrapped up in those arguments were they. Zeus electrified the air with all of his lightning bolts. Thor's hammer thundered a reply. Kali spewed roiling lava over the land. Yamaya's surf pounded a tattoo in response. Every god and every goddess vied for acknowledgement, position, and power. Their dueling responses certainly signaled the coming season. It was spring, when everything is grander, more colorfully explosive than any other season. So weaving through these immortals in their city, in the divine city, was Eostra. She was inexperienced with the ways of these gods and goddesses as they quarreled. Hair shimmering long like spun silver, she listened attentively and quietly to the noise and the chatter around her. In the midst of the other dazzling divine, her appearance, though beautiful, was nothing remarkable. Absorbing the view of the marketplace with its stalls of fruit, bread, all sorts of other wares, overflowing baskets and tables, she found that abundance nearly overwhelming, and the fact that nobody else was noticing saddened her. In the midst of all this hubbub, she moved through totally unnoticed. She herself, however, saw everything that was going on around her. Small creatures darted in and out of the path below her feet. Her deep violet eyes missed not one of them. Anyone watching as she passed the final table and walked over the threshold out of the divine city and into the surrounding woodland would have seen Eostra begin to shrink and grow smaller and smaller and smaller as she walked farther into the woods. Soon she was the size of a rabbit doe, and then she was the shape of that doe, as she hopped her way deeper and deeper into the woods. Once Eostra was deep within the woods, she stopped to rest at the edge of a clearing. It was a small clearing with a very large tree with some brush underneath it, and she went under the brush, as many rabbits will, and she sat there to rest. Sensing the holy difference of this doe, that Eostra, that a goddess was there in their presence, other rabbits hopped out and hopped over to be closer to her. And then birds flew into the branches of the tree that overhead. Flowers and leaves turned in her direction, searching for her as they usually search for the sun. Deer, badgers, squirrels, all the denizens of the woods came and filled that small clearing with their presence. Every one from the woods showed up to be there, to be in the presence of Eostra. Unknown to Eostra, the moon goddess Artemis had followed her. Feeling alone with her woodland friends, Eostra shifted her form back to the human form. No animal ran from her, no bird flew away, no leaf turned away. They had all recognized her as that rabbit doe, and they had no reason to fear her in human form. All remained quiet, sitting in the clearing with her, focusing on the goddess of change. Artemis, watching this shift, and aware of the honor that these creatures, that all of creation there was bestowing on her, stepped forward into the clearing. Instantly, every creature startled and fled. The birds flew, the animals scuttled away, moved away through the underbrush, hopped away. The deer, leaping, everyone fled from Artemis. Eostra herself startled at the sight of the goddess of the hunt. She too wanted to flee, but she knew there was nowhere she could go where Artemis couldn't follow. "Why have you followed me here?" she asked. "Your youth and your beauty attracted me," Artemis responded. "You appear as my maidens do, strong, self-aware, mindful. If I hadn't watched you shapeshift, I would have lost you." "That was my point," said Eostra. "I wanted to be lost." "Why?" "All the anger, all of that arguing, it just wears me down. This is the season of joy, of creativity, of love, of birth, and of growth. All that negativity, how can they create an honorary for a season of beauty and of positivity? How can they do that with all their arguing?" Artemis paused. She leaned on her long bow, which was always with her, and then she smiled. "Will you return to the city with me?" she asked. "I believe we have found our spring honoree." "I will spend tonight in the woods, Artemis," responded Eostra. "You have frightened all these woodland creatures with your huntress ways, and I will make sure that they are calm before I leave them." "As you wish," Artemis responded. "As tonight is the full moon, it is my place to be in the night sky. I will be in the city again in the morning. Will you meet me at the gate by which you left?" "Yes," Eostra promised. "I will be there shortly after dawn." As Artemis in her form as the full moon passed over the clearing in the night sky. She looked down on the clearing again, and she saw Eostra there. And she saw all of the creatures gathered around her. The nocturnal creatures, awake, kind of watching, just sitting there with her. The diurnal creatures, asleep, curled up in all sorts of manners of repose next to the goddess. All were at peace. The next morning, Eostra entered the gates of the divine city with Artemis at her side. As they moved through the streets, arguments and conversations stopped. All heads turned to watch the two goddesses as they walked toward the central square. When they arrived there, Artemis took Eostra by the hand, and she led her to the fountain. The two goddesses stood side by side as all the rest of the gods and the goddesses gathered. In the quiet, for no one was arguing anymore, the birds twittered in the nearby trees, the frogs croaked and sang in the fountain. Dogs and cats wound their way through the legs of the gathered forms, and they laid down around the fountain. The movement and the sound of these creatures did not escape the notice of the gathering deities. Artemis raised her voice and said, "My brothers and sisters, yesterday as the huntress, I followed this radiant goddess into the woods. I expected to find her alone, but I did not. She was in a clearing surrounded by every woodland creature. Walkers, crawlers, creepers, flyers, every single creature of the wood was there, honoring her. Even the flowers and the plants turned toward her. They were aware of her presence. Their devotion was keen." Artemis turned and looked at Eostra. She spoke of the joy and the beauty of this spring season. From my place in the sky as the full moon, I saw her through the night. And throughout that night, the flora and the fauna of the forest continued to honor her. They stayed by her, they watched guard over her. I believe she is our goddess of spring. As one, the gods and the goddesses raised their voices in approval. The dogs howled, the cats purred, the frogs sang and croaked, the insects buzzed. Every section of living things agreed. And this is how Eostra became the goddess of the spring turning, and on the full moon, too.
So can you tell we really have fun creating these things for you? Yeah, there. Okay, so this is the end of our broadcast today. We talked a lot about things about being more powerful when you come up to challenges. A beautiful, beautiful story about harnessing the rites of spring, harnessing the energy of spring, and in an unfolding myth by Mary Lynn Monroe. So bye for now, and we will see you next week, or 1st of May. Have a fantastical, fabulous, wonderful week.